How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Legends of the Unknown. Today, we're going to jump into a story from Terrell, Texas. It's about this lady called the Candy Lady.
Oh God! All right.
It's pretty good. I mean, if I was a kid, I wish people would, come to my house and, leave candy on my windowsill.
Oh, okay. Well, even then, I was thinking first like a bad '70s porno. Or this was going.
No, no,
We suddenly changed topics.
no.
All right.
All right, we're going to get back on the Candy Lady. All right.
Are we getting on the camera?
No, we're going to get on the legend.
I'm gonna work this joke. I'm kidding. All right.
All right, so it all started around 1903. Kids started coming up missing in Terrell, Texas.
Okay.
Many children claimed that candy would be placed on their windowsills, and then those kids would come up missing. The supposed plan for this legend kidnapper, whatever we want to call it, she put the candy on the windowsill after the parents went to bed to lure the kids out of the bedroom. My first thoughts of hearing this
Yeah.
is it's one of those stories that you and your buddies have a sleepover or whatever, and you're scaring the crap out of each other, telling each other stories, and then every kid goes home because they don't want to say anything.
Exactly. First thought, right there. Yeah.
Definitely kind of throws me for a loop though, because a lot of these kids are saying that they see the candy and then the kids disappear. So no adult has came out and said that they've seen this. It's all been basically a kid's story at this point.
Okay. So paralleling Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry. After the kids started disappearing, there was no leads, no reason to believe a kidnap or a runaway. They're just boom gone.
Yeah.
All right. So that's always scary to me, anyhow. That if your kids start, especially in a small town, kids start coming up missing, and there's no trace, no friends know anything about it. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, talk about it as a community, just being freaked out, and starting to cause I don't say mass chaos, but start causing division within the community as well. Yeah, it's a terrible situation. It's all true. So.
Right. And my thought is, it's happened in 1903. What are your odds of seeing that kid again, or what are your odds of possibly finding them safe and sound?
Oh yeah.
What kind of technology did they have back? Not much.
Telegraph, just to say.
Yeah.
Messages. Other than that.
Like nowadays, we get a text message within so many minutes of a Amber Alert. Now it's you're yelling down the road to your neighbor. Little Johnny came up missing.
Yeah.
There's a piece of candy by his windowsill. That's kind of odd. So now,
You said this was right around 1900s.
not yet, early 1900s, 1903,
When this first started.
when that first started. Yep. When this legend was first born.
And putting myself in the shoes of either the parents or the community as well. Yeah, I can definitely see just being freaked out.
And you think about like 1903, what houses were around you? It was probably pretty scarce.
If
No.
this town is like I don't know this town at all, but if it's like a farm town, Yeah, your next neighbor is what, a quarter mile, half mile away?
Yeah.
Maybe?
If you're lucky.
Yeah, and even in Texas, God, that's a big state. And
It's a lot of
you could
land.
be, yeah, they could be next neighbor's 5 miles away.
Yeah.
Type deal. So,
And that's why I was going back to, how do you, Halo Giants came up missing. Have you seen him? Well, look at all this land.
where do you start looking? How
Yeah.
do you, yeah, that's scary. Scary thought.
So, the kids that had encounters with this candy lady,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the one that didn't disappear, there grew up and was confessing that, there would be notes on their windowsill along with this candy from this candy lady.
Okay.
So now my thoughts are kind of turning like this could be real because you're having multiple kids now confirm that hey, there's notes. It wasn't just candy. There was notes.
Oh yeah, of the legends we've covered so far, this one so far sounds like absolutely the most plausible and could happen. You can think people who are just nuts, who are crazy, women who steal babies from hospitals today.
Very true.
Those psychological disorders were prevalent back then as well, just as today. So you get some crazy lady who couldn't have kids of her own, or family was killed by Indians. That's around 1900s. The Indians still were a threat on the plains.
Yeah.
U.S. So yeah, lost her family. She's trying to, she's just messed up and.
So are you sure you didn't do any research on this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's kind of weird. Did you say that?
I'm
So.
well read.
Huh?
I'm well read.
Okay. So we already discussed this could be a plausible outcome, just like you said.
Yeah.
A lady loses her family, can't have kids, so forth. That can happen. The notes on the windowsills that are leaving the candy behind, that's even plausible. That's kind of like the guy driving around in the van saying, "Hey kids, I got candy."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all plausible. Back in 1903 they didn't have vans, but but maybe that's their enticement. Hey, I'm gonna leave some candy on your windowsill. Just come out and play.
Exactly. Yeah.
And what really kind of bothers me about this is they would lay it out to when the parents were sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
They would know when the parents were going to bed, and that's when they would plant their candy, so forth.
Plant the note, so it's somebody familiar with the family, or at least someone who is watching
Around town that sees everything.
That, or most likely, someone at the church they knew, or somebody who's just watching the house,
Right.
learns patterns, etc.
So the parents kind of think that the kids are getting poisoned, and because of the candy, so their mind kind of, it's not at rest, but it kind of eases up a little bit because now they're thinking instead of a runaway or a kidnap, now they're kind of going back to maybe they're being poisoned and they're coming up missing. So that's another theory that they have in this whole legend.
Okay.
But that soon is dead. They find a sheriff's deputy that is investigating the disappearance of the kids, deceased.
Okay. Under what circumstances?
Mutilation to his body.
Okay.
And candy in his pockets.
So somebody saw him doing this, and then they took revenge themselves,
Or
sought justice.
That person caught up with them, whoever's doing it, has left a calling card.
Calling card, yeah, or trying to throw everybody off by planting the evidence on this guy.
Yeah.
So everybody's,
Which I didn't think about that. Good thing I'm doing. I never thought about
yeah.
that. Huh. Well, there's the show. See you later.
So now we can move on to zombies.
Yeah, that's a twist. Zombies. Yeah, that's a twist though. I didn't really think about that
Yeah.
because 1900s, all these kids are going missing. You know, parents sees this deputy or whoever doing this.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, I'm gonna take revenge on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, justice back then,
Right.
a little bit looser according to modern standards.
Mm-hmm.
People weren't afraid to take it into their own hands, even if they didn't have all the evidence to substantiate their claim. You know,
So-
they were just going after somebody.
So let me tell you this part of it.
Okay.
How they found him deceased. It was conducted by a fork.
All right, so it brings back a bad movie, memory of a bad movie as well. But anywho, true after that, my other thought is, almost sounds like it's not an adult. Adults would have either a knife or a shotgun.
Oh, especially at that time, yeah.
Exactly. But it almost sounds like if it was the sheriff or the deputy that was doing this, he actually it sounds like he got killed by his own victim. You know, kids carry stupid stuff with them all the time. You know, kids just happen to have a fork with them and got the better, like, holy crap, this is the guy that's...
Right. Yeah, I've seen him before.
Exactly. And he knows what's going on, has the wherewithal, and just starts, fighting for his life.
Yeah.
You know, who knows?
Yeah, that's a huge twist. I don't know, after doing this research, I wouldn't think, like, plot twist. You know?
Yeah.
Kenny's in the pocket, and then he's the one that's doing all this. Or
Well,
she, whoever.
and especially considering law enforcement officials back then, you almost want to say prior to the 50s in general, weren't didn't have the integrity and weren't held to the same standards that law enforcement is these days. Anybody, could go to a new town and just lie and say, yeah, I'm Joe Snuffy, no criminal record, me a sheriff, I'll be your sheriff. And lo and behold, it's, serial killer Jack from New York.
Kind of sounds, not a serial killer, but kind of sounds like Tombstone. Like when they roll, you ever watch that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever they roll into town, and he's like, well, he can be sheriff, and he gets all his brothers, and they're the ones that run the town.
Yeah.
I mean, they do good, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth to that, Just roll into town, and you want a badge, here you go.
Exactly.
So back in 1900s, that probably is a very plausible thing too.
Yeah.
So now we have that story.
Right.
The reason why I say the story is because Kim Armstead confirmed it. Because obviously it's 1900s. There's probably not a lot of not a lot of records. So later in that year, a farmer was checking his fields. And he found a set of child-sized teeth in his field. So kind of going back to all of our other legends, you have not multiple stories, but now you have kind of a story, a build-up of stories, issues that are coming to light now.
Yeah.
Do you take any credibility as far as those two stories with this legend?
Do I take any credibility?
Yeah, like do you think these stories are credible?
As far as the farmer's report of?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Number one, it's a farmer. Depending on what type of farmer he is, but rural country, especially at that time, most of them did have pigs. Most of them had cattle, etc. But then again, Texas is cattle country, so who knows? But they're going to be generally aware of the difference between a human tooth
Mm-hmm.
and a pig tooth. Now, could it be a pig? Yeah, definitely plausible in that regard. Baby pig, etc. But the other thing is, in the scary part, whoever the kidnapper is killed the kid, dumped the body, and coyotes get after it. And the coyotes will take their
Yeah, and in Texas, coyotes were somewhere in Texas because they were brought to Ohio to take care of rabbits.
Mhm.
So that's more of a like out west type animal. So yeah,
all over the place. Yeah, I mean it's a predator, even if not a coyote, a wolf or so.
yeah.
I don't remember exactly when wolves died out in Texas, but if they were even there. Anywho, long story short, some kind of predator, takes this carcass of the kid and just spreads it around, bits and pieces wherever, poops,
Right.
kids eat, that's just a whole other gruesome.
Right. So I think everything up to this point is plausible.
Mm-hmm.
If you would ask me right now, with the information I know, if you'd ask me right now if this is real or debunked, absolutely real.
Yeah.
In my part, absolutely real.
And I agree. Something happens, that many reports, and
it ties back to all the kids growing up,
mm-hmm.
and then they're coming out confessing, like, and the stories are matching up with one another.
Yeah.
They might be friends or whatever and come up with the same story, but a lot of times when those stories start being accurate,
mm-hmm.
there's more truth to it. Kind of like where there's smoke, there's fire.
Makes sense, yeah.
So I did a little research on this legend house.
Well, I would hope so. Sure, sure.
I found the suspect.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is well documented. Her name is Clara Crane. She's from Terrell, Texas.
Okay.
All right, and this is why I asked you if you did any research.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1985, she killed her husband, or she was accused of killing her husband. She was poisoned with laced caramels,
Okay.
candy,
Granted,
poison.
coincidence.
Hang on.
At first.
Right, at first. She was believed to kill her husband because she thought he was responsible for their 5-year-old daughter's death.
Okay.
So what were you saying earlier? But
So this happened in '85, but how old was she?
that,
They didn't say.
no.
Because you're talking
Go ahead.
82 years later.
No, 8 years later. 1903. This is 1895.
Oh, excuse me. I thought you said 1985. Sorry.
I might have said 1985.
This
1895.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So 1895, she kills her husband with poison candy. Is accused of it, and then, well, yeah, 16 years
Because
later.
1903 is when everyone started disappearing. Right? Or
Yeah.
eight, I'm sorry, 8. Jeez, we can't do math tonight.
A little too much.
Yeah.
Woo! A little too much prepping.
Yeah. So, I did a little too much research, I guess.
Dear God.
So,
This is why we're not in NASA.
yeah. So, going back to what you were saying,
Mm-hmm.
she believed he's the reason that their 5-year-old daughter passed away.
Okay.
So she poisoned him. Assuming
Yeah.
accused her. I was gonna say what are your thoughts on that, but we've kind of already talked about it.
Yeah, she's the not doting, but depressed mom, couldn't get her daughter back. Misses her 5-year-old daughter, and then just goes crazy. Because especially after killing her or being accused of killing her husband, her the social contact she's going to have is dramatically going to reduce.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then just that isolation, etc. Yeah.
So it ended up, they put her in a asylum.
Okay.
In, I believe, it was 1896.
Okay.
Doctors were doing rounds, and they saw her with a doll, and they said that she named it Marcy. I believe is what the doll's name was. So I don't know if it's after her daughter. I didn't say that, but there's a connection because now if you have suffered that, now you're in a asylum. You have a doll, and it's named. But I'm sure it's close to her daughter's name.
Yeah.
There's got to be a connection. So she actually wrote a letter to her sister saying that they were going to release her and her baby doll, Marcy. And in 1899, they released her.
And then 4 years later, or 3.5 years later, all of a sudden these kids are disappearing. Yeah. Man, yeah.
But here's what's even crazier. Once they released her, they have no idea where she went. None. Just gone.
Makes sense for the time. And
That's true. Time, I guess, yeah. Nowadays, that wouldn't happen.
no,
But-
report in somewhere, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see that. But most people, if she wasn't quote crazy, and yes, I just steroids. But yeah, if she wasn't truly crazy or psychotic, you're gonna go back. Most people will tend to go back to places they are most familiar with.
Right.
So.
And what you were saying earlier links up to it. So, shouldn't say links up, but it's plausible for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it shows when she got admitted in 1896, she had a Barbie doll, her doll baby, and it was made out of bed sheets.
Yeah.
So she went out of her way to make this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have ties to that. Now her mental status is tied to the baby doll because she's always talking to it. She's always, when they do the rounds, she's always with that baby doll.
Yeah. And
then they release her 3 years later. Kids start coming up missing. Absolutely, 100% a suspect. And absolutely a legend, once again, turns real.
Yeah, for once, without a doubt, I would say yes. It would be. How could you debunk this otherwise without having further proof?
I don't think you can. I really don't. I mean, you can't prove it, but you can't debunk it though either.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
and all right, so tying the evidence too, her killing the deputy as well. The deputies, he knows there's a known crazy lady, so he's just, his guard is down. She's, sorry, what was her name?
Kara.
Kara. He sees her on the side of the road or somewhere, and she looks like she's in distress, so he's going to help her, and all of a sudden she just turns around, and...
I'll put this picture up.
She's got evil eyes. I'm just saying.
That's Kara.
Yeah.
Or Clara, I'm sorry, Clara.
Clara, okay. But, at least in that picture, she's got evil eyes. You can tell. But yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense that the deputy's caught off guard. He's trying to help her, and she's just goes nuts.
Right.
So
here's an odd. I just found this. Not an odd coincidence, but the daughter's name was Marcella.
Yeah.
All right, and the baby doll's name was Marcy. If I'm saying that right.
Which probably, yeah, the nickname, instead of saying Marcella, she just called her daughter, Marcy.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Linked perfectly together.
All right, so I'm sorry I accused the deputy earlier.
No,
He didn't tell me, didn't give me forewarning, so.
No, but that's a twist that I really want to see. That's like a movie.
Exactly.
Just here you're on one track, and then boom, plot twist, and here's all this evidence now. So, you want to tell them what we got coming up, or?
No, I'll let you. You working hard on it, so.
All right. So February 28th, from 6 p. to 8 p.m. We are actually having our first live show. That's not going to be broadcasted, but it's going to be live at the Petty Bones Bar and Grill. I do have t-shirts made. They just arrived. I'll have that up on this video or the next video. I also have hats through Backwoods Explorer that you guys can purchase as well. We're really excited to get this going. I think, it's just, if we have fun like we do here in a live setting, it's going to be a good time.
Oh, yeah.
So don't miss out. I'm going to try to get some recordings of it and post it to my Facebook page or YouTube. I'm not sure yet, but stay tuned. That's all we got for tonight. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
See you, Legend Nation.